Greetings, Coben here, and today's video is going to be how to install NodeListServer on a fresh server installation. So for this tutorial, we're going to be using a dedicated server in Sydney that has already got applications running on it. It is actually my studio's development server, but for this example, you can use anything from Linode, Vultr, Google Cloud, and Windows Azure. Or any other provider that you fancy. Maybe you have a local one that's like a German Your Server group, and I got an email, but I'm not going to read that because I'm recording. Anyway, so I'm going to keep this as short as possible. Links to everything is going to be in the description, but the first thing you got to make sure you're using an updated version of whatever distro you're using. Like if you're using Debian, make sure you're using the latest stable, which is I think Debian 10, Debian, one of the two. If you're using Ubuntu, make sure you can get 1804 or 2004 if they have it. Both are server instances and you can do that. But what I recommend doing is actually going with Ubuntu 18.04 because that's what I use in production and it just works. You also need to make sure that Node is installed and you have Git installed. So I'm going to show you the versions I've got Git of, which is 2.17.1, which is locally. I installed it through app. If you're using Yum or anything, you're going to have to substitute a few things, but you want to make sure you have the latest versions of Git and Node installed, which are 12.18.0 for Node, and as I mentioned, 2.17.1 for Git, respectively. So pretty much the installation of NodeListServer is very easy. All you have to do is basically git clone a repository, which I am typing on the screen for you right now, and I will also make sure that when I post-process this video that I added I had the commands on the screen so you can follow along. Because I understand that sometimes actually it is hard to read my terminal because of video compression and all that shit. So we are going to quickly type this out. We're going to clone that, and it will clone and make a new directory. If we do ls or dir, depending on the environment, it will say NodeListServer. We're going to change into the NodeListServer folder, and then we're going to go ls. And now for that, we will have a bunch of files. Ls or dir, again, will show you the list of files. Now, the important thing to know is that we can't just run the JavaScript file because it's not actually a bash script and it would just pollute the whole terminal with just garbage. So what we need to do is actually install a few packages, which is quite easy. So we want to do npm install -- only equals production. What this does is it bypasses any development versions of the dependencies that NodeListServer uses, and therefore pretty much, well, it only installs the production ready ones. So we're going to let that run, and as you can see, since my server for your attacker is running on a gigabit line, it was really fast. Now if you're on a patchy connection or something like that, it will take a bit of time. If you're locally, you may find that it just takes a while in case if your interconnection is shit, which can happen because, hey, sometimes third world countries and stuff like that, and we do have a few people using Mirror and related networking stacks in third world countries. Nothing wrong with that, but yeah, the internet can suck, and I feel sorry for them at times. But that being said, once you've run npm install, you are good to go. So at this point, we can boot the server up. Please note that we are only just going to use the stock configuration that comes with the repository. There is a file, if we look at there, called config.nin, which has documentation about if you read the configuration file there, or if you go to the repo and actually click on the configuration explained link in the README, it will explain what every parameter does. The biggest one you want to change is the communication key, because that by using the default, you are letting anyone just access that. Even I could come along and just start adding servers randomly to your instance, and basically you'd be like, oh, why I've got like 500 servers now, what? And people try to connect to it, and it just starts glitching out because I'm using your infrastructure for my games needs. So communication key is which basically says, hey, bugger off, you're not related to the game, so don't use these services for your own shit. Yeah, so that's what you have to do. You go NodeListServer.js or NodeListServer, one of the two. It will actually kickstart, and if all goes well, you'll be able to access, start doing API calls via HTTP port 8889. In the README there is some explanations of how to actually test it to make sure, and I can demonstrate you one right now. Give me one moment to just, I've just switched over to another window. Ideally, if you're not using, bring your own something byobu, which is what I use, then pretty much you will have to open another shell window or something. But we're just going to paste this into a empty shell and press enter, and as you can see, it returns a JSON string which basically says its count is 0, meaning there's no servers. It doesn't know, it's the server list is empty, and the update frequency is 300. More information on that later on. And as you can see, that it actually accepted a local host connection with the communication key, default key, and it replied to it with the known server list, which is good. Now, if you see orange or red messages here, you know something's going wrong. But pretty much, yeah. You can try a few things. Try it out using CURL. And it's all documented on the GitHub page, which will be again on the link below. But I hope this video was very useful for you and showed how easy it is to get up and running. It's much faster than using the actual mirror list server, because you have to install a bunch of stuff, and Erlang's not the best thing, stuff like that. But I mean, Erlang's a great language, but this is not a place to be shitting on it. But yeah, other than that, I hope it helped you out. And if you like what you see and you want to support the project, go on and drop me a coffee. You can sponsor me on GitHub if you're really generous of that. But yeah, thank you for using Aussie open source software. Open source is the way of the future. Embrace it. But in the next video, I will actually show you how to do this on Docker, which is very easy. You don't have to you can do it in less than 5 minutes. If I can do it in less than 5 minutes, you can do it too. But I will tell you the secrets of that in the next video. So, I hope you take care, and in the next video, I'll do the Docker stuff. So, yeah, alrighty. Hope this helped you, and I am out. Take care.